And there is a gentleman who called here a couple of weeks ago in response to something I said on the air, and that set off a whole series of very heartbreaking, literally and figuratively, events. And I will tell you that story and replay that phone call for you. If you got a hanky handy, you're going to need it. However, I hope you're with us a couple of weeks ago. Here we are in the Christmas New Year season. And, you got to hear this call that we got a couple of weeks ago. And then I've got some updates for you. Here it is.
You hit right on base with what you said a little earlier today about we should have the right to be able to choose when we want to go to leave this reality and go into the next. Let me give you a little bit of my background. At age 15, I was hospitalized for 12 days. The first 3 days I was in quarantine. They could not figure out what I had. I had acute rheumatic fever.
Yikes.
And if you live through that, which I did, then you're guaranteed that by the time you're in your 40s, you will have heart failure.
Yeah, your quality of life and your life expectancy are much reduced.
Yes, your heart valves are deteriorated until they can't be used. I held off until the very last moment to get my aortic heart valve replaced 14 years and 2 weeks ago. And it was replaced with a bovine valve, which is cow.
Right.
They only last so long. They will last in between 10 and 15 years. So I'm at the point where it's totally giving out. My gradient is around 60, so I have a lifetime expectancy of less than a year now, unless I get totally ripped open and do it all over again.
Are you willing to do that, or are you not willing to do that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you've got a death sentence basically staring you in the face.
Yes, I have a ticking time bomb, and I feel it. It's constantly hurting. The rest of my body is deteriorating too because of everything, and it is so hard to deal with. I'm running out of money. I'm not going to be able to pay rent next month. I have no means to keep on going on. I've made less than $20,000 each of the last 4 years, and so at the last week of this month, I got to terminate. I have no other choice.
Wait a second, the last week of this month, you're going to kill yourself?
Yes.
Oh, my
I have
goodness.
no other choice.
How are you going to kill yourself? Have you thought about it?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather not say on the air, but, yeah, I'm prepared.
Okay, and but if I understand you right, you're going to do this because really it's the lack of financial means to keep yourself going, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to have to go at some point, but yes, if I cannot pay rent, I'm not able to move out to another place. If I have to go out on the street or something like that, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to live that last bit of my, last few months in that kind of a hardship. It just does not make sense.
So if I understand you right, basically, if you had the money to pay your rent and to feed yourself and to clothe yourself, you would end up taking your life anyway a few months later because the pain and the deterioration would be so great that dying would be preferable to living.
Yes.
Robert, have you gone through the mental process of coming to terms with the fact that we all just get a limited amount of time here on this earth and everybody has to have their time come to an end? Have you reached that stage where you say, look, I've had my days. I've seen what I have seen and it's time to go. Is that where you are now?
Yes, I've had a great life. I have done much more than most people could ever accomplish in a lifetime. And why? I mean, yes, I've had the discussions with my doctor. I've had the discussion with friends. Yes, it's something that should be done.
Well, Robert, this is, I have to tell you, most of us, and I suspect it applies to you just like me and everybody else, for most of our days, we push the idea that we're going to eventually die way into the deep recesses of the back of our minds. I mean, the only way we can get through the day, if we walked around every day saying, well, I know I'm going to die someday, that's no way. You can't live that way. It's just it weighs too much on the mind. We just spend our days pushing this knowledge that we're going to die at some point way back into, that's the only way we can get through our time. But there comes a time. My mom died when she was 45 of colon cancer. She knew it was coming for a long time. I saw her waste away. My dad was going crazy, watching his wife waste away. She had to have felt terrible, knowing she was going to die, leaving her husband at 42 years old with 3 little kids, and she ended up dying 3 days after my 5th birthday. I mean, she took it out to the bitter end. She took it right to the last second, and she let the cancer get her. She didn't take her own life, and my dad died at 49 after his 4th heart attack. He didn't, he stopped taking his medication in the last few days, so in a sense he did kill himself. But Robert, let me ask you, how much longer would you think you would go? I mean, if we just did a big fundraiser for you, right? If the Norman Goldman Show did a big fundraiser for Robert in Denver, and we got everybody who's listening to kick in $5 or $10 or $20, and we were able to get you money, how much longer would that? How much more time would that buy you?
I don't know, really, Norm. 4 to 6 months, maybe.
4 to 6 months. Well, do you want us to do that?
I'm not really asking for help. I just want people to know.
Well, Robert, now you got me going. Man, what you are going through, it's just, there aren't words. Well, Robert?
I have to live with the pain every day, and it's just getting to be a bummer.
I understand. Boy, do I understand. Robert, all I can ask is that you use the knowledge that you have gained, because you are special. You are very special. You are on a journey that most people just can't understand and appreciate. And if you can use your journey to teach others and to make them understand, and I think you've done a really good job of that now. Robert, here's the deal. You have our phone number. You know how to, we're not going anywhere. If you'd like us to try and figure out a way to help you get along the next few months, I've never done this before in the 4+ years of this radio show, but this is an unusual circumstance. So just understand you have friends here. And if there's anything we can do to help you, by all means, would you please let us know?
I appreciate that, Norm, very much.
And Robert, you got me crying. You got us all. I'm looking on the other side of the glass. They're all crying. I mean, for heaven's sakes, Robert, I mean, this is the hard part of life that people just don't want to have to confront. And I'm really glad that you thought enough of me to call me. And I'm so sorry that this has happened to you. I wish I could do something to help you, but we all end up in this place sooner or later. Robert, you're a courageous man. You're an amazing guy, and I really thank you for calling and sharing with us. I mean, it really took a lot for you to do that. Thank you.
I appreciate your time too.
Well,
thank you.
Okay, and please just stay in touch. Don't let this be the last time we talk to you. All right.
All right, Norman.
All right, Robert. Thank you so very, very much. And that's how that conversation ended. Robert then reached out to me and sent us an email, gave us a phone number. We had him back on the show. I've got an update for you and then a couple of questions for you. That is straight ahead. 1-888-321-6001. You got to hear this update and then a question to you. Straight ahead, where justice is served. The Norman Goldman Show. Now, here's an update for Robert M. We just replayed the call from a couple of weeks ago. Robert M. sent me an email. He sent me his phone number. We have been in contact these last couple of weeks. I have been people in Denver. I mean, it's just AM 760 is awesome. We got emails from people at the local medical center who said, Norm, we can help Robert with his surgery. I put Robert M. in touch with the people at the Denver Medical Center, and he had already been there, and he gave them his medical records number. I mean, we have investigated this a lot. It appears that Robert M. really is who he says he is, and it's all on the up and up. Well, Robert M. was in very bad financial shape. My wife and I have helped him out of our own pockets. I'm not taking this as charitable deduction. I don't even think the IRS would let me. We're not taking it as a business deduction. We have sent him some money so that he could pay his rent and pay his electric bill and not get evicted on the brink of death. Now, it seems to me that that's just the right way to do. Now, see, I have a question. I mean, when that call first aired, people sent me all kinds of emails to Norm at NormanGoldman.com, Norm at NormanGoldman.com, saying, Norm, I want to help. I want to help Robert. My question is, do you still want to do it? Do you still want to do it? If you want to help Robert, I have a couple of ways to do it. And one of them is through Facebook and PayPal. Another way is through our website. But I just want to take your temperature and see if you want to help this man out. He doesn't have much longer to live. At least we can help him keep a roof over his head. He does still work a bit, and I may end up hiring him to do some work for us with apps and stuff. But my question to you is, before we start getting into the details of how to help Robert M. in Denver, who is going to end his life one day soon. And by the way, that's part of freedom and liberty. Death with dignity. The ability to say, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to die soon. My body has betrayed me. My body has given out. You can't take anyone else with you. I mean, you can't say, I'm going to die, so I'm going to kill my enemy too. No, you only have the right to take your own life. But there comes a point where it's your choice. Your whole life is your own choice. If you want to end your life, then end it. You can. But if you are dying of heart disease or cancer or some other disease where it's only a matter of a short time and you want to go, I believe that that's an element of freedom and liberty. And Robert M. is at that point. So, do you want to help? Please send me an email to norm@normangoldman.com. I've got a couple of ways where we can make this happen, where I will protect your privacy, I'll protect his privacy, and I can account for you for every nickel of it. But we've still got more to do. Lots more to do with you next with Justices. Paul in Washington State, you have been very kind for staying on hold as long as you have. I haven't forgotten about you, Paul. We've just had an extreme look. We got a crazy busy show today. It's just all kinds of stuff is going on.
Yeah, and I got to say about Robert. First of all, I'm pledging $25.
Okay.
So I'm starting the bidding off, and I'm a guy, by the way, who doesn't have. I'm about as about financially destitute as Robert, and I want to say something about Robert. Man, don't waste the suffering, because you still have something to offer because you're suffering, and that's what. That's
why he called us.
Exactly. That's maybe he didn't know that, but that's where it comes from. I mean, I've been through it. I've lost my eyesight to a disease that's untreatable and uncurable. And I'm not life-threatening, but you can't. You deal with these things. You can't waste the suffering, because that's all you really have to offer in the end. Is how you dealt with it.
I'm with you.